Well, good morning, and you're obviously waking up to a sunny sky, but that's after about 5 to 10 inches came down all across central Illinois, and while the temperature dropped yesterday, tempers flared in the House floor, where the discussion about masks continued for a third day. Good morning, I'm Greg Bishop, 712 now on the WMAY Morning News feed. You can always chime in live and local at 217-629-7970. Also, if you're waking up this morning and just now finding out that the 4th District Court of Appeals rejected Governor J.B. Pritzker's appeal to the Sangamon County Circuit Court judge, saying that his order on masks in schools is null and void. So that also happened early morning. I didn't see it until just after midnight, after refreshing the 4th District Court of Appeals website for every 10 minutes yesterday, trying to find out the latest. So we'll actually talk with Attorney Thomas DeVore about that after 7:30 this morning, get his reaction to the case where he brought on behalf of more than 700 parents against 140 school districts, state school officials, and the governor, saying that students' due process rights were being violated by being told that they had to wear masks or else they couldn't go into school. So we'll get to that a bit. But speaking of masks, yesterday, again, as the temperatures were plummeting outside, inside the House chamber here in Springfield, there was some heated exchanges. Tempers flared. This was the third day that they had an ongoing discussion about the House mask rules. So day one, Tuesday, when they came back, some House Republicans, they put out a statement saying they're not going to play mask theater anymore. Right as that statement dropped, they walked onto the House floor without masks. Then you had the chairperson of the House at that time say that they have a mask rule in place and they have to wear masks and they should refrain from eating and drinking so that they can keep their masks on. They even said Tuesday that you have to wear your mask if you're going to speak at the microphone at your desk. So then we saw State Representative Blaine Wilhauer getting called out by the chairperson, the sitting speaker at that time, for not wearing a mask. And then all of a sudden everything dissipated and they adjourned and they went off. Day two, Wednesday, same thing. You had some people not wearing masks, and then all of a sudden Chicago Democratic State Representative Letitia Collins, she motioned that several members who weren't wearing masks be removed from the chamber. So that motion was brought up, but she later dismissed the motion, withdrew it. They adjourned and they went off into their committees. Then yesterday, as they came onto the House floor, there was some back and forth with state, this was actually Wednesday. There was some back and forth about whether the rules were all being followed. And in particular, there was an ongoing question about this 3-part rule, not just masks, not just social distancing, but the temperature checking. So the temperature checks were forced by Republicans saying, if we're going to follow the rules, we've got to follow all the rules. So they went around and they checked everybody's temperature. They went through some business and then they adjourned for the day. Collins withdrawing her motion to actually eject members of the House. But then Thursday comes around and members aren't wearing masks. Representative Collins makes the motion to eject 9 members that weren't wearing masks. And then we get into what was a heated debate at times. And you're going to hear from a variety of different people here. You'll hear from State Representative Blaine Wilhauer. You'll hear from State Representative Adam Niemerg, Tony McCombie, Stephen Reich, Andrew Chesney, Mark Batnick, also Lakeisha Collins, and House Minority Leader Jim Durkin as they debate a motion to eject members of the Illinois House from the House for not wearing masks. Here's how that debate went down.
Representative Collins, is that a cloth mask that you're wearing? Is that a cloth mask? Do you know, how many other people are wearing cloth masks in here? Clearly not me, because I'm not going to wear a mask that the CDC has already said is ineffective.
Think about when you leave this chamber and you're at these parties, these dinners, having a good time with everybody, and you're not wearing a mask. Don't be hypocrites here today.
I literally just walked over there and talked to a couple of your members and put my mask on because I was going to be within 6 feet of them. Mind your own business, mitigate your own risk.
Hypocrisy is the tribute that vice pays to virtue, And you are living examples of that statement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Why don't we do a virtue signal, Representative Collins? Why don't we save the people of Chicago? Why don't we save the bloodshed, the terrible policies that you put forward? If you're truly concerned about the safety of the people in this state, why don't we do that?
I find it pretty unfortunate that this is the second vote we're having to remove members of the body, and we haven't taken one vote or held one hearing in 2 years on the governor's mitigations. Not one single vote. You guys have chosen to abdicate your duty and provide oversight. Live with it.
Representative Collins.
So every minute that we're wasting talking to you all while you're over there whining about a mask, those people are still suffering and they need our help. So do your job and comply with the rules in this house. If not, go remote. Simple.
We want to hear the people speak on behalf or against an issue backed up with reliable science and evidence. It's not an unreasonable request. And what you've seen over here is a growing frustration that is playing out all over the state of Illinois. It's not only in our districts, but it's in your districts as well. And I respect the people that you represent as well.
On this motion, there are 66 voting yes, 39 voting no, and 0 voting present, and the motion is adopted. Doorkeeper, please remove Representatives Sosnowski, McCombie, Wilhauer, Halbrook, Niemerg, Welter, David Freese, Miller, and Chesney from the floor.
So you can see video, if you're watching with us online, of the members leaving without any problems, but then several other Republicans, most of the Republicans, left the chamber. Only State Representative Mark
As a
Batnick
reminder, ladies and gentlemen,
and also State Representative Tony McCombie remained in place. And McCombie, again, you heard her there talking about, the mind your own business and mitigate your own risk. She remained in the chamber and was not forcibly removed. But when they eventually came back to vote on the legislative inspector general, she was not able to vote. So her right to vote was removed by taking away her key. I got this statement from her overnight. She said, "I stood on the House floor to debate a motion to remove me from representing the people of Northwest Illinois. Just as many frontline workers, teachers, and brave parents are standing up for constitutional rights against executive overreach across Illinois, I encouraged my colleagues to mitigate their own risk and mind their own business. I came to Springfield to work, and that's why I stood my ground and stayed on the House floor. My voice is one they want to silence as it speaks for thousands of tired Illinoisans." So after all of that took place, Attorney Thomas DeVore, who again we'll talk with after 7:30 this morning, he just keeps making news, he filed a lawsuit against House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch. And in particular, he filed the lawsuit because he says that his voice is being diminished by his state representative, Blaine Wilhauer, being ejected. And he also filed on behalf of Blaine Wilhauer for being ejected. Here's some of what he had to say yesterday about that case.
Speaker Welch has no authority whatsoever to place quarantine measures on the people's representatives to keep them out of that chamber. It doesn't even make any sense.
Now, while DeVore has not filed a suit on behalf of McCombie, he does react to McCombie not being allowed to vote, while other Republicans that were ejected, they took part in debate remotely and voted remotely. McCombie stayed in the chamber. She could not vote because they took her key away. Here's DeVore.
You're going to say you put a mask on, or we're going to exclude you from a foundational principle of representing your constituents? I mean, they're playing those games and completely eradicated her whole district from the democratic process. There's no way the courts are going to stand for that.
So we'll watch that case closely as well. We'll talk with Attorney DeVore about that and also about the circuit court ruling blocking mask mandates being kept in place after an appellate court dismissed the governor's attempt to appeal that when it comes to masks in schools. So a lot of mask discussions on this Friday morning. It is the WMAY Morning News.